Kenyans living abroad contribute a lot to Kenya's socio-economic development, and according to the Central Bank of Kenya, the diaspora sent home about 200 billion shillings in remittances in the year 2017. And the question is, just how is this money sent back home and how is it spent?
When I was introduced to the SACCO, I thought it was a great idea because then you see what you are investing into.
On this show, the role of Kenyan savings and credit cooperative societies in channeling investments from abroad to Kenya.
Some of them have just been registered, so they're young and crawling. And of course, they got into an area where they really don't understand the cooperative business model.
We will bring you highlights of the meeting of the Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO that took place here in Seattle City, Washington State, on the west coast of the US. From Seattle City, I'm your host, Alex Chamwada, welcoming you. But first, here is our fact sheet.
The fact sheet today is about Washington State. Washington State was named after George Washington, the first president of the United States of America. The state has a strong economy in general. Significant business within the state include the design and manufacture of aircraft. Before moving its headquarters to Chicago, aerospace manufacturer Boeing was the largest company based in Seattle City. Its largest division, Boeing Commercial Airplanes, is still headquartered in Washington State. Multinational technology company Microsoft has its headquarters in Redmond, while wireless telephone operator T-Mobile and coffee roasting company Starbucks are headquartered in Seattle. Among Washington's resident billionaires are, as of December 2017, Jeff Bezos of Amazon and Bill Gates of Microsoft. Seattle is the largest city in Washington State and the 15th largest city in the US. The highest building in the city is the Columbia Center. The 76-story structure is the tallest building not only in Seattle but also in the entire state of Washington, reaching a height of 933 feet or 284 meters. The tower has the tallest public viewing area on the west coast and west of the Mississippi. From the top of the building, one can get a 360 view of Seattle City. From here, one can see Lake Washington as well as Space Needle, an icon of Seattle. And here are some more images of the city.
It is here in Seattle City where the Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO held its annual general meeting, that is on the 23rd June 2018. And before we delve into the details of the meeting, let us take you outside the meeting hall just for a moment. Are there Kenyans living in this city, and what do they do? Well, I was told if you want to meet Kenyans here, then one of the places to visit are restaurants specializing in African dishes. And we got a moment to have a meal at one of them, that is Safari Restaurant.
We do a combo with our food. Like you have proteins, you have starches, and you have carbohydrates. And so we have the fish, we have the goat, we have the chicken, we have the beef, and we also have a vegetarian mix that has a lot of proteins, which include jahe, pinto beans, and that is a substitute for the protein for vegetarians. And we do have a lot of vegetarians. We also have ugali, matoke, mukimo, chapati, getheri.
We have, I would say, in the last 10 years, the number of Kenyans in Seattle has really risen. When I arrived here 20 years ago, we were just a handful of Kenyans. I would say maybe around 50, max to 100. But to date, I would estimate probably maybe in the thousands. You know, the one good thing about this country is you can pursue your dreams. You can go to school full time. You can pursue exactly what you want to do or what you want to be. For me, I wanted to be in healthcare, and I've tried to perfect that. Others are working in engineering. We have Kenyans who are working for companies like Microsoft, Boeing, Amazon. So sky is the limit. Basically, it's whatever drives you, you can pursue it, you will get it.
Jina langu naitwa Mohamed Adam. Nimetoka Minneapolis, Minnesota. Mwenyeji nimetoka Eldoret.
Eldoret.
Yeah.
Unatoka Eldoret, Kenya?
Yeah, Eldoret, Kenya. Nilizaliwa huko.
Mzaliwa huko.
Yeah.
We do have a very large organization of Kenyans here. We do come together for certain functions that we have. We actually hold functions here just specifically for us. Some fund-based, some to just take care of stuff back home and here, because we also have issues just like everywhere else.
Now you know, Kenyans are everywhere in the world, and it is that community Diaspora SACCOs are reaching out to. When they met here in Seattle, the Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO members sought to review their progress and chart the future. The Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO was registered in 2012 to serve the Kenya diaspora community residing mainly in North America. It has about 1,500 members.
Right now, after consolidating our offices into Nairobi office, we have customer service staff that serves you from 7 in the morning to 2 a.m. in Nairobi.
The SACCO was born out of needs and circumstances that Kenyans in the USA encountered, including the inability to borrow locally, that is in Kenya, due to stringent financial and prohibitive cost requirements by banks. The other challenge was failure of relatives and friends to execute agreed upon instructions for major investments.
So the SACCO I joined because I've been trying to do investment back home. So I've used channels like using friends and family members, and sometimes you send money but the money doesn't get allocated to what you want, so it is diverted to other directions. So when I was introduced to the SACCO, I thought it was a great idea because then you see what you are investing into.
The chief guest at the meeting was the Commissioner for Cooperatives Development, Mary Mungai. She said Diaspora SACCOs have a key role to play in the government's Big Four agenda.
I therefore encourage your SACCO to develop relevant mortgage products to finance members who want to purchase or construct their own houses, as SACCO members will now benefit from the first-time owner mortgage relief to the tune of 300,000.
The Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO ended its 2017 year at 170 million shillings in assets, which represented a 47 million shilling increase over the previous year's assets. This year, a payment of dividend on share capital at a rate of 15% per annum and interest on main savings at the rate of 2% per annum was made as of 31st December 2017. The SACCO has an office based at Victoria Towers in Upper Hill, Nairobi, that supports and provides online services to its members across the world.
The role we have played as a Diaspora SACCO is having an organized method of taking remittances back to Kenya in an organized way. And we are not talking about monies for consumption. We are talking about money for development purposes, investments. We have played a big role in that. And that is a huge gap that has been missing for a long time. And I don't think we have even scratched the surface, really. I mean, we are getting into it. And even with what we have already done so far, the ground is still very fertile for that kind of investment need that our people can use to develop Kenya.
And it is through such associations that investments back home like this one can be achieved. This is Fadhili Homes Project, located on Kangundo Road, a project of the Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO. It comprises 240 home units currently in various construction stages.
The project, initially when it was launched about 2 years ago, we had an opening, price, and the project comprises of 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms. But of course, majority of them are 3 bedrooms. 3 bedroom then was going for 3.9 million shillings, and 2 bedroom was going for 2.9. But of course, because of time has passed by, and there's also been member needs where they want units customized to their needs. There are those members who want, units that are detached. So the price, of course, is going to go up maybe to the tune of 5.2, 5.5 million shillings.
This project is the second real estate project of the SACCO. Their first property project is at Isinya, Konza, where members bought over 250 land plots for investment purposes.
And it's also going to boost the diaspora remittances. When people are able to see where their money is going, of course, they are more inclined to send more money home.
But according to the Commissioner for Cooperatives, diaspora SACCOs face some challenges and they are yet to meet the standards set by the SACCOs in Kenya.
Some of them have just been registered, so they are young and crawling. And of course, they got into an area where they really don't understand the cooperative business model. And the issue of training, especially member training, the management committee and supervisory committee is also very scanty, because the SACCOs, the diaspora SACCOs have come into play. The ministry or the State Department for Cooperative does not have enough resources to actually go and interact with them. However, we are trying to create an online kind of induction manual so that they can be sensitized and made aware of what is expected of SACCOs.
So far, 17 diaspora SACCOs have been registered.
2 of them are in the US. We have 1 in Canada. We have 2 in Qatar. We have in South Africa, Nigeria, Swaziland. There are 2 in Europe. There's 1 in Dublin and 1 in the United Kingdom.
I traveled all the way from New Jersey. That's a 6-hour flight to get here. That's how important this event is to us. It's proven that the SACCO is actually one of the best saving engines for people. And for us here in the diaspora, we have too many challenges. And especially if you're trying to invest back home, you need to work with people who have the same interests. So if you're people with a common interest, common goals, why not do a SACCO?
We face a myriad of challenges as a SACCO because this country is huge. We are talking about a country that has over 300 million citizens, the US. And in those 300 million people that we have in here, you can take a fraction of those ones who live here who are Kenyans. So penetrating into the areas where Kenyans are in this country has not been easy. We have been in existence since 2012, and there are still people who have not heard about us. The other challenge we're having is we have a lot of elderly people who are here in this country who are not probably computer savvy, and we are an e-SACCO. We have been trying to devise methods of reaching them in avenues where we can be able to tap into their needs. And their needs are intense because these are people who don't have probably papers, makaratasi, and they want to develop home.
On that note, we take a short break. We'll be back with more on the role of diaspora SACCOs in channeling investments back home. This report is coming to you from Seattle City in Washington State on the west coast of the US, and we are discussing the role of diaspora savings and credit cooperative societies in Kenya's socio-economic development, with focus on the Kenya USA Diaspora SACCO that recently held an investment meeting in this city alongside its annual general meeting. During the meeting, the government was challenged on why it goes for expensive sources of borrowing money for development projects, yet the diaspora could easily be engaged as a cheaper source.
If government is building a university, If government is building a road, you can buy a financial instrument.
Dr. Mbui Wagasha, a former chairman of the Central Bank of Kenya and now a senior economic advisor in the executive office of the presidency, is one of the guests who addressed the meeting. He told the gathering that a policy framework for channeling diaspora funds towards government projects was in the offing.
It is much cheaper. It is discounted better than the Eurobond, for example. The Eurobond that we contracted in the last two instances was 7% and 8%. In the diaspora, who are earning very little here in Seattle, they have billionaires, who are working at Boeing, at Microsoft here in this area, in the northwest. And they can earn much more from financing government programs and projects, which would, rather than keeping their savings in the US. So the role of the diaspora in this particular gap is to help finance their country development. It's been done by many countries like Israel, India. Ethiopia built the new Renaissance Dam on the basis of diaspora financing. So it can be done, it's not rocket science.
We should find a place to park here.
Through organized associations, Kenyans in the diaspora can also play a key role in marketing Kenyan products abroad, as emphasized by the chairman of the coffee subsector reforms, Professor Joseph Kia, at the meeting.
Alex, what we are producing, our coffees like Mercedes, we are marketing as a tuk-tuk. The more strategic point of entry on the marketing is for them to start promoting the Kenyan coffee within the diaspora. We can borrow leave from a country like Ethiopia, who has done extremely very good in terms of marketing their coffee in North America.
The Higher Education Loans Board, HELB, was here too. Reason? To seek the support of the diasporians, so to speak, in tracking higher education loans defaulters.
We know North America is one of the areas that we have heavy traffic of Kenyans who did their first degree in Kenya, and then they moved out of those countries to be able to pursue their PhDs, their masters, and we know in this market they are there. And so if you look at even the current campaign, the traffic from North America is really heavy for us, and that's how we segment them. If you look at Uganda, Rwanda, again, heavy concentration of Kenyans and South Africa in those markets, and that's why we are pushing more of this campaign in those jurisdictions. And then remember also, the president has directed that we start funding Kenyans in foreign universities. Part of our diaspora proposal in terms of funding Kenyans in foreign universities is really then to understand, if we fund you and you are going to school in America, how will you be able to repay our loan back? And so that's where the conversation is also picking up from.
And despite commercial banks being criticized for prohibitive costs on their services, a good number of Kenyan banking institutions now provide diaspora banking services and would not want to be left out when it comes to the handling of the billions of shillings sent by Kenyans living abroad. Joseph Washira is the head of diaspora banking at the ABC Bank.
We also have loans, construction loans. If you want to take a mortgage, that is, you want to buy a house, we can finance that for you. And then let's say if you want to buy a piece of land, the same thing, we can help you acquire that, because I know that's the dream of every diasporan who is out there.
Earlier in Nairobi, I had a one-on-one interview with Dr. Washington Olo, the Director of Diaspora and Consular Affairs, on how the government is engaging Kenyans living abroad.
You see, for a very long time, what has happened is that we had ignored the diaspora. We are talking of about 3 million Kenyans abroad who are forming the diaspora. Now, for a very long time, the planners of this country were planning our development without involving this huge constituency of 3 million Kenyans. Now, since we started the implementation of the Diaspora Policy in 2015, the government realized that we cannot leave these 3 million Kenyans abroad without involving them and integrating them into our development. So basically, this is how we came in. From there, we launched the Diaspora Policy, which gives us a way, direction on how we can engage the diaspora and then bring them back and help us develop this country.
He says remittances from Kenyans abroad could be more than what official records show.
We came up with this booklet, Send Money, Invest in Kenya, whereby we are providing information to the diaspora on cheaper ways that they can send this money. So now that we have many players, we find that the transaction cost is coming down. And again, the trust that the diaspora didn't have before. We've come up with a way of engaging our private sector and building that trust with the diaspora, because what has been happening before, this money was being sent, it is sent to relatives, it is not used. But now with the kind of organizations that we have come up with, that we have vetted and we are going outside there, we are telling them these are credible people, they now have the confidence and the trust. And this has really contributed to the increase in the diaspora remittances that we are talking about.
Yet the number of Kenyans living abroad is not clear. Only rough estimates are given. The director is emphasizing the need for Kenyans abroad to belong to associations.
When I talk about the Kenyan diaspora, in fact, I talk about those who are outside there as Kenyan nationals with IDs and passports and what, and even those that don't have them. As an office, we do not go behind how somebody ended somewhere. And I think that's another issue that is solved on another day. What we are interested in, wherever you are contributing to the development of this country. Even if you are somewhere illegally, you are sending some money to this country. So that is the basis. And even if you don't have the papers, how can we work so that you have the right papers?
As we conclude today's show, a common plea among Kenyans living in the diaspora is that bureaucracy and corruption should be tackled in both government and private sectors, as that is a big obstacle to tapping investments from abroad.
We know, and I'm not bashing all the civil servants, no, but we still have those apples there that are not so good, that really frustrate us, because we'll go there, for example, and I'll give an example, lands. You want a title deed, and the moment they realize you've come from out of the country, then they know you are not there forever. So they frustrate you until maybe they want you to give some money. Otherwise, you may not get what you need. So when I look at that, I say, yes, we can do better as a country. I know and I believe we still have civil servants that are doing a fine job in Kenya. I give them kudos. But those ones that are not doing a good job, something needs to change, and change very fast.
All right, we hope you found this show informative. From Seattle City in Washington State on the west coast of the USA, I'm your host, Alex Chamwada, and many thanks for watching.